Welcome in to the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview, proudly presented by Arkansas Tech University, D3 Auto Sales, and by Metcalf Trucking Company. Today we sit down with Hot Springs Trojans head coach Daryl Burnett.
All right, I am here with Coach Daryl Burnett, the head football coach here at Hot Springs. Coach, your team had a really good year last year as far as wins and losses, but when you got to the playoffs, you guys had a really tough first-round team that you had to play. Tell me about what you want from your team in the offseason and what you expect from them on a day-to-day basis to get you guys to where you can make a deep playoff run.
Just continue to improve and don't be satisfied with being average or don't be satisfied with being good. And it's no different than our 7-on-7 that we had to beat. You're 4 points away from being, undefeated. And I gotta tell our kids, no matter what you do, whether it's weight room, classroom, 7-on-7, practice, the objective is to win every rep, to ultimately win as a team. And like I said, never get satisfied with being average and never accept it. It's okay to lose. And we didn't finish, good. That is what it is. That's why we got that matchup draw against Shiloh. You take care of business on your home field against, Lakeside. You don't get that draw. But once again, at the end of the year, turnovers, some things like that kind of hurt us. And, our biggest thing as coaches and everything start with me is evaluating where you've been. We started out rough my first year, and it was a rebuild. You keep climbing, and it's so easy for everyone to get, complacent with winning and just making the playoffs because the history since the 70s here hasn't been good, but that won't be our standard. So that's been our whole focus, What do we need to do? What do we need to do to change up what we've been doing? How are we gonna get out the first round? First, you got to make it in a tough conference. But it's evaluating myself, and we switched some things up. This off season it felt different, but can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. So we done that, and we'll continue to improve every day and see where it takes us.
So last year you guys played a lot of tough opponents on your schedule. Shiloh and Parkview were a couple of them, and those were tough games for y'all. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to ask you, what. How do you think your team handled adversity last season when you played those teams like that? And, just what you expect from your team in that regard this season?
Well, you can see a lot by individual. When you're down 2 touchdowns or you're down 3 touchdowns and you're not winning, who's going to continue to fight? Who's going to hang their head? Who's going to point the finger? Who's going to step up? So you're going to learn a lot about guys as our current seniors and some of our sophomores actually against Shiloh. When they was up, scored some touchdowns at the end and kept fighting. Those guys had a really good offseason. But the conference is tough. 5A South, you got Parkview, of course, but you got a historic program like Camden Fairview. Texas County got athletes all over the place. Lakeside been consistent. We're in the mix now, but can't get satisfied with just being in the mix. You got to continue to climb. And then we changed up our non-conference. We wanted to, make it harder for us. We picked up West Memphis. We picked up Lake Hamilton as far as the scrimmage. We picked up Alma. And then, of course, we got Arkadelphia. And you look at the good teams, and, our non-conference was good. We have Bologna. We had some other people that's been really, really good. But, if you want to do something different to get different results, when you come down to week 10, week 9, first round of the playoffs, you still want to continue to improve and get over that hump. So we juiced it up, so it's going to make us competitive early. It's going to let us know where we are. No different than team camping this summer. We're team camping against Ben Bryant, Parkview. Camden Fairview was in here just last week. Conway, so just bringing a different challenge to us that's going to make us step up and be a better team.
So you talked a little bit about your schedule going into this next year. Tell me about the games that you're specifically looking forward to. Obviously, you mentioned Parkview is going to be a tough team. They're a tough team every year, and they're in your conference. So tell me about what you think about your schedule and maybe some games that you or your players, your fans are looking forward to.
Man, actually, I'm going to just do a complete opposite of the schedule I'm looking for. We got to the shootout tomorrow, so that's our first time going to this one. It's a big one. High-powered offense and high-powered coaching, so that's always good. And if I always worked for us anywhere else I've been, anytime we started going there, our level, expectations, our competition rose us up. Then you start with our non-conference, which is awesome. I mean, of course, everyone is going to be looking forward to, the Arkadelphia game. That's always a big one, whether it's here or there. Parkview is a TV game. That's always a big one. Camden Fairview, we beat them last year for the first time in a while. That's always a big one because, they are a semifinalist team every year. And then you finish it off. It seemed like for the last couple of years, the Lakeside game has had implications, whether, who's finished the third seed, last year who was going to finish the 2 seed. This year only time will tell. But I think every game is actually a nice game, a competitive game. Even look at someone like Texarkana, who's probably, didn't have a good record. But, they 500, and they're loaded with speed, athleticism. Quarterback can actually sling the ball. We saw him the other day and being 7-on-7. So, that's what you want. That's what you want. That's what's going to make you a better team. That's what's going to make you a better program. And, you just got to keep raising those expectations. And it's up to us coaches and the kids to meet them.
So you talked a little bit about expectations and about how you don't want people around here to be satisfied with just making the playoffs every year, and how you and your staff have kind of raised the expectation here. Tell me a little bit about what you guys decided that you were going to do to change things and change the culture here at this school.
Man, after I hate to say I use that word, but after our first year, we went 1-9, and when I was at Malvern and when I was at Camden Fairview and some other schools, man, we used to always just sit back and look at Hot Springs and like, wow, they had a bunch of linemen, they had athletes all over the place in junior high, but they never made it to senior high for some reason. Good community, good city, and we just always said that was one of the programs. If I ever had a chance for a flip, it was tough leaving Bryan knowing you had 10 starters coming back on defense. But it was a challenge. You go 1-9, then you got to hit the reset button. You got to get everything you learn from all the coaches you've worked for. I use a man in the mirror method. I always evaluate myself harder than anybody. Pee Wee program was the first thing we changed. And a lot of people think about high school. And we took over our Pee Wee program. So we took it over from 2nd grade all the way up to 6th. We implemented flag football. We bought all new stuff for Pee Wee because, our stuff wasn't what it's supposed to be when you're playing against Benton, Bryan, Lakeside, Lake Hamilton. We wanted our kids to look like they belong out there as far as uniforms, 7-on-7 uniforms, everything of that nature. We changed the stadium, and we changed something just as simple as you couldn't wear anything but school colors around us. Black, Vegas, gold, gray, white. You couldn't wear no other school colors, and it started with just taking pride in who you are. If you don't take pride in being a Trojan, or if you don't love being a Trojan, nobody else is going to respect you. Nobody else is going to want to do it. And we started that. Of course, we was hard on them. We was disciplined. We made it, practice tough on them. We challenged them in the off season, and it worked. And we had a good group with Santier Thomas and Devin Hill, them Seabass, that finished 5-5, and I want to say we were like 17 points away from being 9-1. And then that group right there is the first group that bought in, and they got everybody below them just slowly I want to play football. Pee Wee program started having success. One of our former coaches got out of coaching in general and was a principal. He coached Pee Wee football all the way up until this year because, he's expecting. But just little stuff like that everybody want to, probably say, Coach Burnett this, man, but it ain't me. It's all about our staff. And then it's all about the guys that's helping these young men. Starting at Pee Wee, starting at, quote unquote Boys and Girls Club, whether it's the Y, whether it's High Impact. It's a lot of things that pays into dividend. But the first thing is going to always start out with is discipline and taking pride in who you are.
So you talked a little bit about you want this team to embrace that they are the Hot Springs Trojans.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what it means to your players to put on that uniform every Friday, and what it means for them to go out there and play for Hot Springs.
Man, it means a lot to them. We're upfront with them about everything that goes on in the world, and I used to always say perception is reality, but it ain't. Because there's a lot of things that you can perceive until you actually get around it, and actually until you get in the school district. And the biggest thing is defeating all the odds, but being ready to be a man. Everybody talk about the championship rings, the wins and losses, but are you preparing kids to be a man, be a father? And then us as coaches, we ask ourselves, are we giving these kids our all? And that's the thing with us right here. Our kids know we're gonna give them our all, man. They know we're gonna fight for them. We're going to try to get them recruited. We're going to support if they go military. We're going to support them if they go to the trade field. Our biggest thing, and a lot of people say it, but they really don't mean it, is just get away from us and go do something with your life. And that's Pierce Smalley playing football, college football, Adrian Conway, one of our best football players ever, just going to school. You got Michael Jackson that's still playing college ball. You got this group that's signed and finna leave anytime now. You got Deontay Sanders, who's, detailing and working at Sam's, taking care of his family. Like, you got a lot of things that's going good, and that's our biggest thing, man. Win on the field. And I'm big on if you win in the building, it'll transfer here, and that's one of the biggest things that has helped us out in football a lot, the building, not discipline issues. Kids are taking it grade serious. And I can give you an example, and a lot of people probably won't admit it, but anytime you can get the Washita's, the Hardens, and some of these other guys, the Stocktons, to recruit your kids, you're taking care of your grades. And that's what makes you as a coach kind of stick your chest out. That's all of us that, our coaches come in this spring and they say, well, Coach, man, we love recruiting your kids because the grades are taken care of. And that's big. That's a 360 from when we got here. So that's a testament to our teachers, principals, APs, and everybody else that's helping our kids grow.
So tell me a little bit about your roster. Tell me about some guys that you might be leaning on to be leaders for your team, and maybe some guys that you think will come in and maybe will step up where you had some players graduate.
Yeah, we had a bunch of firepower on offense graduate, and everyone got so accustomed to, Mac Tread's big arm and those receivers scoring all over the place that we got to replace them. And that starts out with our quarterback, Sean Elliott. He's a 6'3" kid, multi-sport guy, smart, understands the offense. Towards Laban, but he's been back. He's taken on a leadership role. You got some explosive receivers, and TJ Ellis has stepped up, been a leader. You had a move in from Airline, that's doing good at receiver. Justin Watson had about 400 yards receiving last year. Hicks, our most explosive guy. And then our whole offensive line, that's who we're going to lean on. All them guys are back. Them guys have been 2-year starters, and that's where it starts at with, Katie Allen and Red and Allen, Big Raymond, Michael Case. All them guys want to be seniors up front. Them the dudes that better be the leaders, better be the vocal guys. Those are the guys that better set the tone, because if you look at our conference, Parkview O-line set the tone. Camden Fairview O-line set the tone. And when you look at the O-line, D-line, those are the guys that's getting past the first round. That's why we changed up some things defensively too. And then on defense, you got 2 D1 safeties. Jeremiah Attaway and Cayenne Jameson, man, them guys, they've been leaders last year. Whole secondary coming back from last year. 3 of them got offers. 2 linebackers coming back and 2 D linemen. So you got some pieces coming back, but you got to put it all together. And like you said, the most important thing is who's gonna lead in the locker room, who's gonna lead out here in practice, who's gonna lead in the weight room when you're tired, when you just got done practicing, who's gonna lead outside this whole facility, when you just at home, because we're going to a year-round schedule. we'll have weeks off, and we'll practice in the morning. Who's gonna get the guys together to make sure we're going out, hanging out, eating, bonding, little stuff like that. So we depend on a lot of people, but at the end of the day, man, the people that produce on the field and shows to do it the right way, those are the people follow.
So tell me a little bit about just what you guys do as far as your scheme on offense. What you guys try to do, running the ball, throwing the ball, and what your expectation is for your offense this year.
Expectation always be successful, man. Positive yards on first down, no 3 and outs, control the turnover margin, all this stuff all the coaches say. But at the end of the day, man, it's to expect to score every time you get it. And that don't mean expect to score the first time. We don't want guys running the ball, bouncing the ball, thinking for a home run. That's 7th grade. But when you step out on the field, have confidence that you can score. And for the last 2 years, everybody got used to the deep ball, because we was going to throw it. We was going to challenge you. And this year is different. We probably got more speed at receiver. But, man, we got 3 running backs that's pretty fast. All of them, they're not 9 or 10s. They're 11 threes, One of them is a 9th grader. That's going to be a 10th grader. He's 11'6". He's 6 foot, or 6'1", 220. Kenny Woods was an explosive running back last year. They hit major strides the week before we played Camden in Fairview. Robert Blevin was a guy that hit strides when we played Camden in Fairview, and them guys were sophomores. They both had good games in the playoffs. So I think it's a little bit different. We kind of threw the deep ball last year, didn't set up the run. I think this year, man, with our O-line running backs, we should be able to run it, and get guys to creep up. And then with all these guys that we got at receiver, which we should be 4 or 6 receivers deep, we can throw any routes. I think good route runners can catch the ball. And it'll be a little bit opposite, but the biggest thing is score. Do what we can do. Don't try to be fancy. Don't try to do what we want to do as coaches, because we ain't the ones out here practicing or playing. Do what your kids can do.
So tell me about your defense too. Just tell me about some guys that you're looking at to step up and lead for your defense, and what your expectation is for your defense.
Well, it's, like I said, I keep saying that. I put the pressure on our secondary and told them, you got 4 guys coming back. You're supposed to be the best group out there. And then, you talk to everybody, everyone's like, yo, you going to play cover 0. No, I like to stop the run first. That's what we put the emphasis on, because that's what our league do. Part we're going to run it. Part we got a D1 quarterback that probably could throw for 3,000 yards if they wanted to. But they want to challenge in manhood. And so we want to stop the run with our big boys. We've been using speed, and we still will. But when we're playing these teams that's championship caliber, we got to have more size and, a little more backside to compete against some of these bigger and stronger guys. And then linebackers, we move on our DNs that's strong and fast, the inside linebackers, so we'll do some things defensively different that we haven't done in about 3 years. And it's emphasis on stopping the run. So we'll expect Chris Seguin, Braylon, Eli Evans, and some of these linebackers to, run freely. And then we incorporate our safeties big on the run game. That's why I tell people, you got D1 safeties, I guess, and they want to run 0, but you run 0, you run these guys off, you only got 7 guys on the run. I like to keep 9 or 8, and that's incorporate one of those safeties into the box, whether it's from 5 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, where we run our stuff. So it's a little bit different, man, but man, we just got to stop the run. And that starts up front with our D-line and our D-line coach, and then our linebackers got to get right and be aggressive. And then once you start to run, then you can display your talent back there. Then you can change up your coverages, and you can let ball hawkers be ball hawkers. But at the end of the day, it's a manhood conference. You got to challenge it and stop the run.
So tell me about what you want the identity of your team to be. You mentioned a lot of things about pride in being Hot Springs, pride in growing into young men, and pride of just going out and playing hard. So tell me about what you want coaches, fans, anybody to see after they watch your team this season.
I want to say they're playing hard. They're playing hard. They're playing disciplined football. We're tackling good on defense. We're not making any mental mistakes on both sides of the ball that's going to hurt ourselves. And then, that we took special teams serious, because, we work special. We work one special team a week. And those, you got to put all 3 phases together in order to be a good team. So we just want people to say they disciplined, they play hard, man, they play the right way. They're gonna walk out there on the field with a certain swagger. And then I played college ball, man. You can look at any kid, you can look at any college football player, you can look at him and see if he's good. You can look at him and see if they're ready. You can look at them and see if there's doubt. There's a lot of stuff outside the X's and O's that can win you and lose you football games, and it starts from here. The average distance from your brain to your heart is 18 inches. So, those 18 inches, I tell kids, either gonna make you a man or a coward. And whatever is triggering from your brain to your heart is gonna tell you, whether do I lay down or do I man up? And we want our guys to, defeat the odds, keep fighting, compete, play hard. And you cover up so many mistakes when you do that. And I go back to 2012 when we run the state championship in Camden. Man, I know way more football. And I say I know way more football than I did then, but we played harder. We played hard. We played physical. You cover up so many mistakes that as an individual you make out here on the field or your coach mate, because we was running cover 2 some, and I hate that coverage now. And you look back on, you're like, God almighty, we ran cover 2 on this, but D-line played hard, linebackers played hard. Secondary was technique out, and they played hard physical. And that's what it's really about. It's not about the most athletic team. It's not about who can run a 40 the fastest. It's all about who's disciplined, who can put it all together, and who knows how to win and who expect to win. And you see that's on the shirt right here. That's a motto we have adopted: expect to win, dominate, and that's what we want to do every game.
Last question for you. What would you consider, a successful season for you where you could walk away from it and say, this is exactly what I wanted out of this year?
Boy, that's a tough one. Man, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I thought we had a chance to win every game. My first year, we went 1-9. I just ain't never been one of them dudes that think about losing or think about I really think, man, and I expect to win every game. And I know that might sound like some crappy anybody. I really do think that. Been around winning football since coaching. Then it started with Coach Maxfield when I was in college. Like, his mindset and what he expected from us, we went from I don't know what it was my first year, but then the second year, we was like, first year with Maxfield, we were like 1-9, 2-8. Maxfield first year, we was 3-8. After that, we was 7-4, 8-3. It kind of remind me of what we got here. Same record almost and how it's trajecting up. And as a head coach, man, I expect to win every one. A successful year would be a championship. A successful year would be a deep run, and everybody we put emphasis on getting to Thanksgiving, because that means you put yourself in a chance to get to the state championship game or semifinals, and that's always going to be the goal here. But as a head coach, we expect to win every game.
All right, this has been an interview with Coach Daryl Burnett here at Hot Springs. Coach, is there anything that you want to say about your program before we sign off here?
And we're just glad to be here. We appreciate the support, and we're ready to get at it. Dead week is coming, so we'll relax, and then we'll hit it back in July.
All right, I'm Carson Ward with Arkansas Sports Network. You can find Arkansas Sports Network on Facebook and YouTube.
Thanks again for joining us on the Arkansas Sports Network's Hometown Sports Football Preview. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Arkansas Sports Network on YouTube to catch more previews and all the latest updates on your favorite teams.